the people who are maintainers of that stuff or who are reviewing it, they're probably like all these 40 years old in tech guys that would just see your code and be like, why did they use a dictionary? Why not use an indexed map, something you've never heard of before?
One thing I really loved or I really appreciated when I got into open source was Whisper was a project that seemed simple for a beginner, but when you get into it, it's super complicated. Then I got this one contributor. He was so good. I felt like every PR he made, I didn't even need to review. I just accepted it because bro was that good and I don't even need to think much about what he does. Reading his PR was like reading the God textbook for programmers. I was like, damn. And so many things I learned from him. He was that good. He got my projects from a tiny thing that after maybe 1 year I've given up on to something I could keep working on, fixed performance issues. And I just looked at his code like, God, man.
What motivates me to contribute to open source beyond like financial reward is, I would say, street cred. But I think of street cred in like as a dev around. So you have like think about it like from this perspective of, maybe like an event or in an interview, you are telling your interviewer that, I've contributed to TypeScript ESLint. I worked on the Million.js documentation. I revamped it from scratch. I contributed to the team that wrote like an ESLint plugin for Million.js, and we actually got users to like be able to like use that to like help them figure out some issues. Maybe you were like worked on support and you're like, oh yeah, I did this for Million, and then maybe like something randomly popped up and like, yeah, I have like some experiences doing like so many cool things. So some of these things you may not even like value them as you are doing them, but like when these opportunities pop up, and people ask you for experience now, work experience. People say they are looking for work experience, but will never be hired. But like you're doing open source, and maybe you've built one, like maybe even contributed to one random as very cool thing that maybe even the company themselves uses, and you just tell them, oh yeah, so by the way, I did like this pull request somewhere sometimes. Like, oh, you did that? It's like, damn. So like some of these cool things, like is a way for you to like, I don't know. I just see it as a way for me to like explore cool things and like just build cool shit. I just like building and exploring stuff, and oh yeah, let me figure out this stuff. I'll just like spend 1 or 2 days like cracking my head, take it from like ground zero so I can intermediate level, fraud the rest, then still run Amsha. Then but yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much what I would say is one of the things that drives me to contributing to open source.
So contributing to open source has helped me in collaboration, in reaching out to people people I don't know, like not being scared of talking. And also when I started She Code Africa Open Source Club, I had to reach out to people, ask them, okay, I want to start this in my community. How should I go about it? And they were so open to tell me. So contributing to open source allowed me to see that there are a lot of people that want to share their knowledge. Like they are not hiding it. People in open source, they are very open to share their knowledge. And also being a club lead in She Code Africa OU has also taught me patience. Like to be very, very patient with people and to know that their time and my time, they are not the same thing. And maybe when I'm interested, they might not be interested, and I have to like push them. And I also learned, I should say, being a Nigerian and also contributing to open source with the issues, network issues. I think all those challenges have also taught me how to be resilient and to keep on going.
I would say is the learning opportunity, because as I said before, Kubernetes is very complicated. Yeah. And I volunteered, as a pull request wrangler, where I work on pull requests, I work on GitHub issues, I try to even onboard new people. And as a pull request wrangler, you can be a shadow. The shadow is someone who's working with the main pull request wrangler. It's like a senior technical writer, for example, or senior software engineer. And the person is Tim Bannister. He's based in the UK, and he has been mentoring me so far. It has been amazing. He breaks things down for me to properly understand, the project. So I mean, the guy has been amazing. The learning opportunity is just amazing. Also, my friend Divine Odazie, I feel like I gave me better updates in regards to like Linux Foundation and all that. So he kind of like opened my eyes in regards to the Linux Foundation mentorship program. It was in one of his Twitter spaces. That was how I learned about the Linux Foundation mentorship program, though. But he gave me updates in regards to cloud native computing in general. So huge shout out to him too, because those things they've been like a huge learning opportunity for me. So
apart from the monetary aspect of it, one thing that I've really gained from open source is the networking aspect of it. Remember I said open source to me means learn, to collaborate, to network, and to like make impact. So during the networking aspect of it, I met Nat. So Nat was one of my mentors for the outreach program. She works for Wikimedia Foundation. I think she has been there for like I think 7 years. So she's kind of experienced and all. And at first, I'm Nigerian and she's from Uruguay. I think I pronounced that well. So sometimes when she speaks her English, I'm like, okay, I don't think I get. And most times when I'm speaking my own English, she's like, sorry, and stuff like that. But we became friends. And there's this big age difference. Although I don't know her age, but I know she's very much older than I am. But we became friends, and she's always, even after the program and stuff like that, she's always like, okay, apply to this. She will ask me what my interests are apart from software development, and I have interest in AI, ML also. So she'd be like, okay, why not apply for this? Why not do this? She's always in like resources and stuff like that. She has been really cool. Like even after so many months of the program, she's always reaching out. Sometimes she even asks me for like, oh, what should we do here? What should we do here? And stuff like that. So that's one big benefit that I've gained from open source, networking with Nat.
Beyond money, quite a lot. For my personal experience, I was working with two research engineers, like I said. The first was David Dale, and the second was Kevin Efferman. And after contribution, Kevin was very, like, I had a call, like a personal call with both of them. And I wanted to know what it takes to get into research, how to get into Meta as a research engineer. They walked me through things I could do, if you should go for grad school, not go for grad school. One thing that was very tangible was they both offered to write me a recommendation if I needed one. Imagine getting recommendations for guys from Meta. So that was one. Kevin even went ahead to give me a recommendation on LinkedIn. And these guys are always there for me to reach out to. So when I think I want to make a decision on that roadmap to becoming a research engineer, there are all these guys I can call and reach out to. I talked about, like, before now, I've always thought of a project that I wanted a Python package I wanted to write and have it on PyPy. So that was the first time I was doing something and it was on PyPy and I was listed as one of the top contributors. So these are the things that you stand to gain outside the money aspect. Yeah.
The fact that you get connections, the people that mentored me. Okay, last year my mentor was a professor in UCS, University of California, San Diego. He retired from professorship and now he's working in NIH. I've forgotten the full name. NIH and NLM. It's a very big national health something all over the world. So me having to work with that kind of person is just crazy. I know if I was by myself, I probably wouldn't have had the chance to even maybe connect to that kind of person, and he wrote a recommendation letter for me. I'll still get one this year from him because I also worked this year. So I also this year my mentor too is someone that he founded the Bell language. So like the kind of connections you have in open source, like you can just connect and you can like easily chat them up on Google Chat, on Slack, ask for a recommendation letter, talk with people. The kind of connections you make when you contribute to open source like is actually crazy, because like you get to meet people that like maybe they have founded something, all this kind of stuff, and they're your mentor. So like you meet them every week, you talk, they tell you their plans, all those kind of stuff, and they're in big schools. So another opportunity, like I said in the beginning, that you get to do something that maybe if you're working by yourself and just learning and working in a random organization, not random, sorry, just working in a random organization, you probably won't have done. So last year, my project was to generate a data set for PyTorch Geometric. PyTorch Geometric is an app that I used to create graph neural networks. My project was on graph neural networks last year. So I used it to do graph neural networks. So I ended up creating that data set and I contributed it to PyTorch Geometric. So now, if you go on their documentation site, the data sets that I worked on during Google Summer of Code is there, and people are using it. So it's just cool. And my mentor ensured I put it on Zenodo. Zenodo is a site, an open source site for storing data sets, papers, different things. So now, if you go there, I have like over 1K downloads. I'm thinking that me that I just stayed in this small country before I using my data sets from all over the world, which is a very nice feeling. So like those kind of things, like you get to actually do very impactful things. You can get to do impactful things that maybe if you're just working and learning generally, you might not have been able to do it. You probably would have, but within the space of 12 weeks, I contributed the data set to PyTorch Geometric. I've not even heard of PyTorch Geometric before then, and then it got accepted, and now it is on their documentation site. It still used to blow my mind every time I think about it.
The coolest people I've met, actually, not just coolest person, it's like two people. I've met Aiden. Yeah, Aiden is like this like genius. Like he's like 16, and then he shipped a library basically that like made the React team at Facebook to jail up and like what is that seatbelt reference I've always make, yeah. So like basically sit up. So it was just one random like that's a crazy experience, like meeting him anyways. And then we were able to like do cool shit together. And also like Gui, I don't know if you've seen like Web3 Unilags thing. He works at MetaMask. And he just likes Nigerians because I don't know. He had like a very good experience with one guy that he met from Nigeria, and he said like he just likes the Nigerian spirit, that we're grinders and hustlers, and that we just have that we don't give up and stuff. So he just like likes Nigerians in general. And I've worked with him on like so many cool things. He used to work at Vercel, so he knows like Next.js like end to end. He's very good at it. I was like, oh yeah, like meeting him, I was like, Alpha, like I want to like learn stuff. Or like it was like, I'm not going to pay. I was like, sure, don't worry, just give me experience. I just want to come and learn. I'm not forget about the money. Just give me work to do and just I use this one to learn something. So working with him, I learned so many things. I learned how I gained more deeper experience next year. So I learned like React server components. Basically just like exploring random things like that. And him giving me like tasks and be like, okay, just try this thing out and see how it works. And I'll be like, okay, yeah, sure, for sure. I'll go and research, read blogs, come back, implement the thing, and be like, okay, I did this thing, and it works. So yeah, meeting like people like him and Aiden, I would say like is one of the like really cool things. I met like a bunch of amazing people too as well, from like top companies. There was time I was working on like one image optimization proof of concept. I was just like, we went to Ikorodu, we just went to go and grind. We just thought, where is the like the first place in Lagos we can go and grind? So we just like, yeah, let's go to Ikorodu. Let's go and grind it. So we just like, we had some guys. So we just left short, like, and we're working on that. I met one guy from Google. I was working on one library like that. So things like that are just like, I don't know, fun, because it gives you that level of independence, because it's open source, everything is out there. If you have any questions, you can just like in a very non-asshole way reach out to somebody and be like, yo, I'm kind of like curious about this thing, and they'll be like, most times they're super nice about it, to help you out.
definitely Eddie Hub, Eddie. Eddie's one of those people that have been Eddie's one of those people that has so many GitHub awards. I think when he shows them on Twitter, I'm like, bro, only you. And Eddie's someone that right at that time felt like that giant you could never talk to. Right now, Eddie's someone that can DM and be like, Eddie, I'm lost, what's up?
Well, without open source, I would say I would be a network engineer. Yes, because I started with Cisco. Though Cisco recently acquired Cilium, which is a networking and cloud native project, and definitely I would gravitate towards cloud native at the end of the day. But yeah, well, without open source, I would still be probably studying for my Cisco professional exam, which is CCNP. I would probably be studying my CCNP right now, and trying to like shift my career in network engineering, network automation specifically. So yeah.
Without open source, my project Whisper would have been in the trash. Without open source, I wouldn't have known GitHub is something powerful. Without open source, I would still be googling how to add an element to an array in JavaScript. Without open source, I wouldn't have known that something as monorepo existed. Without open source, I wouldn't have met the amazing community we have today.
How different will it be without open source? Okay, so I'll say open source definitely made some things easier. So, for example, there was a company that reached out to me on LinkedIn, and they had a pay range they wanted to pay, but the fact that I had some contributions to open source, and so I actually play. So it depends. I play different cards when it comes to, say, landing roles. One of them is I tend to emphasize the open source at meta thing. So I was like, previous engagements I've had, previous opportunities I've had, I was paid way more than this. I didn't give a value. I said way more than, and they could check my resume and see, oh, this guy contributed to Meta, did this, and those were like things that I could back up to say, okay, I can command more, say in terms of compensation. There's also a way of adding like feathers to your hat in the ML space. So the model. So now that we're in the era of LLMs. Contributing to open source and contributing to one of Meta's language models, it just gives me a lot of credibility when I say, oh, I've worked with language models before, I've built tools for language models, like the evidence is there, you get. So these are like things that
I think without open source, by now I might still have no direction, because I think I mentioned me liking to explore and stuff like that. So I think by now, if not for the Outreachy program and continuing with open source from there, I'll still want to like explore, like, okay, now that I've done game development, now that I've tried data analysis, now that I've tried software engineering, let me try AI again, because I'm still young, let me live my life, stuff like that. So I think I'll still be, trying. But now with open source, it kind of gave me this direction, like, okay, you enjoy doing software engineering, you enjoy database management, why not continuing it? And you enjoy technical writing a little, because during my program at Outreachy, you have to like write articles also, technical articles also. You have to like write readme for the project you're working on. So it kind of gave me that direction that, okay, you really like this, why not just continue? So without open source, I think I really would just be going exploring. Being
an ML person in the open source space, I wouldn't say too many different. I wouldn't say there are too many differences, but one difference is the fact that if you're contributing to, for me personally, I needed to have access to means of running these models. So and there's a compute. You need to have the compute capacity to run some models. That can be an issue. You can't run it on your laptop. Your laptop doesn't have enough RAM. You turn to Google Colab. Google Colab is always giving you out of memory. PyTorch is always giving you out of memory error. Google Colab is not enough. So yeah, that's one challenge you could run into. But if you're not working with the models directly, you may not run into that challenge. Another challenge is, I won't say for ML, but say data science people, like guys that do data sciences. Initially, you work in a notebook where you write your notebook in any order. You run it. You can run cell 10 and go back to run cell 1, and so like. But you're working with Python scripts. You're working with so many scripts. So the code base might be a little bit uncomfortable because you're used to notebooks, but now you're writing just Python scripts. That can be a big difference. Yeah, these are like the ones that stands out to me being an ML person. So being able to code is not even an ML problem. It's a general, like, so being able to code is one thing that you should be at the best at what you're doing. If it's Python, know Python very well, and it's now be a point of you really don't have to be deep into ML because you know how to just write Python. Some of the things you'll be doing might not be ML specific, might just be Python specific. So sometimes it's skill issues, not ML. It's not you not knowing ML, it's you not knowing how to write Python properly, you get, or use Docker properly, that kind of thing. So yeah.
One myth about open source do like it.
Okay, the first myth is the one of the it's a waste of time. So a lot of people believe it's a waste of time, but no. There are a lot of people I've met in this space that, even like in the Oscar community, for example, that's their life, that's what they do, and they're living very comfortably. So that alone, the fact that it's working for somebody is enough proof that it will work for you if you do the same thing. So yeah, that's the biggest myth. Then another one is that you have to spend a lot, you have to do a lot, you have to provide for maybe the deployments and everything. So I really do think that there are a lot of ways to cut costs, cut corners and everything, so you don't have to spend the time. I mean, aside from your computer, you're fine. So if what you're building actually applies to somebody, you could apply to them to ask for a grant and then hear what they have to say. If that doesn't work out, you could actually whatever you want to deploy, there's a way you could self-host it. You could host it locally also, whichever. So all of this applies. So it's not a very expensive thing. And then another myth is it's easy. It's not easy. And the reason it's not easy is actually because the threshold for being a beginner in tech, it increases every hour. It changes just the way JavaScript released their SDKs. So you might see a good first issue in 2021, and it's actually looking like a good first issue. But in 2024, a good first issue probably looking like a good last issue. It might be the last thing you actually do in tech, and then you just quit and run away. So it's kind of like complicated. And then there are times where you actually did make a good PR, but it's good for your level.
Moral of the story, be real. I've like this, I don't know, just like build a curiosity and growth mindset in yourself, just like inculcate it, like maybe in your day-to-day, just be like, how does this thing even work, self? And it's just send you down a tunnel of like several links on the web and asking somebody here and maybe typing on or maybe reading through one dead GitHub issue that nobody has responded to in months. So yeah, it's just having that kind of spirit, being curious, like I mentioned, and also being like just like super nice and not having ulterior motives, just knowing that okay, I have goals and I want to achieve like this and this, like realistic goals here. Set it for yourself, don't put pressure on yourself because probably just kill yourself. So just said like realistic goals. Okay, this is what I want to do. And just like, okay, build up to it. So it's not like, okay, it will happen once, just like build up, like one day, maybe the next week you just chill and watch Netflix throughout or something, or do whatever you like. But I just thought, okay, this is what you're like building towards. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's to let students know that they're capable of doing stuff outside of school. Like, you don't just have to be a student, you can also like grow yourself and grow your skills, add other skills to yourself. That way, at least when you graduate, your resume will not just be BSc. There'll be some other things there too, like some few experiences that will probably give you a higher chance in maybe job market or any other thing you want to do, like in the future.
Hello, my name is Ruti Kega and I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm an open source program manager. And I'm so excited to feature in Beyond the Classroom series. I think it's a really awesome series to share the stories of students, that are contributing to open source. And I didn't get into open source when I was in school, so I'm so excited to hear these stories because they are really superstars. So background for me here is that I have a microbiology degree and I didn't, study computer science in school. So open source has, like, when I started like learning how to code during the pandemic year, I started with Python, and really open source helped me understand like the community, and that's also something I really love about like contributing to open source. The community was a place for me to practice a lot of what I was learning and openly learn with others without having criticism or without feeling lost, right? There were a lot of people in the community that contributed to my growth process. People are there to recommend you for opportunities even when you're learning. So a lot of that really shaped my career into who I am today. Most recently I spoke at the United Nations, and that has been a result of over 4 years of contributing to open source and getting multiple opportunities. I think what inspired me to start contributing to open source, first it was, I think, out of curiosity first, before the inspiration even came. Like, I wanted to understand technology, and I learned about open source software from my friends. Back in school, they were already participating in open source. So out of curiosity, I wanted to understand the concept of public code. And then when I started contributing, it was really interesting that I could be part of something big. There are different people that come together to create open source software from all around the world, and mostly all volunteering efforts, And it was very interesting to see that with the little contributions that I made to a project, I could, make change. So, and that the fact that also that anybody could get involved, what's really mind-blowing. And for me, that's what keeps me to stay, that I can help people build their careers in open source and I can be able to make change. My advice to new people trying to understand open source or trying to contribute, make their first contributions, this is a good time to start. Hearing all these inspiring stories definitely should tick something in you. And October is a good time because there's HacktoberFest, which is like a month-long celebration of open source. So you can, look for a project, get started, as single as a typo, right? Make that little change and gradually, and also try to learn about what that project is doing. Try to connect yourself with how you can help the project, because most of the time you need to understand what value you bring into a project for you to be able to keep staying there and keep making change. So try to understand the project and look for aligned places that you can make valuable contributions. And always remember, it's not just about the quantity, the number of pull requests, but it's also about making valuable change. So always chase for quality, and thank you so much.